This one today is very interesting because I think if more people understood this concept and understood it correctly, we would be way more effective in our witness and maybe way more effective in building churches and growing businesses even. And it simply starts out and it talks about attention. And the rule that they're trying to promote is to court attention at all cost. Now, some personalities struggle here because, they don't like the limelight, or they don't like, they don't like to be seen as, different. They're kind of, they prefer to work in the background. However, even there, within an organization, there's something to be said about being noticed. One of the things that comes to my mind, and one of the things that it brings out in this lesson is find yourself an identity. So if Sister Linda gets ready to go out or to come to church or to go to whatever, already I've been here a year and a half almost maybe. I identify, if I see Sister Linda in Walmart, I think I could identify her by her dress. The way she dresses. What she likes, animal print.
Oh dear.
You think about it. Well, no, I mean, it's whenever I see her, a lot of times she's wearing. So what happens is we associate something with you. There was a detective, I think it was a homicide detective, if my memory serves me correctly, with JPSO, and when he would show up on a crime scene, he would show up with a bow tie. I mean, just big old, and I'm talking about a weird colored, I'm talking about a fancy bow tie. And I'm talking about just a sharp dressed guy. And if you were to talk to someone and say, it's that guy that wears a bow tie, every time I know who you're talking about. Why? Because he was doing something to gain attention, to stand out from the other detectives that might just be standing there in a polo shirt with a badge on. So when we are trying to influence people and we're trying to get a message out, we need to set ourselves apart from the world and set ourselves apart from other people. If everything was just black and white and gray, it's not very exciting. It's not very. We judge people on appearances. We judge people on appearances in most cases. And if there's something that is unseen, it really doesn't have a lot of importance. It's just like on your job. If you think about on your job, you can be doing a great job. You can be doing a wonderful job. But if you don't stand out from the crowd, you're never noticed. You have to do something or act in some way or promote yourself in some way to stand out from the rest. When we try to influence our children in Sunday school, children are all attracted by the unusual and the out of the ordinary. It's the reason you put stuff up on your door. I mean, a regular door is still a door. It opens and shuts and keeps people in and out. It works. It's functional. But if you don't have snowflakes that look like weird jellyfish going on in your classroom, I mean, it's a way to capture the attention of someone you're trying to influence. It's important. It's part of the reason that I believe no matter how uncomfortable, and I hear preachers a lot talk about the fact that, I'm just not comfortable putting myself out there on social media. And there's some dangers there. I get that. There's dangers to conflict with somebody else's ideology and theology brings confrontation. I get that. However, if if we're just like what we've been all these years and we're not any different than every other church, then we're not being very successful. But if I can get on a Sunday morning and do a Facebook Live and try to interject some humor, try to interject some positive thinking, some positive reinforcement to people, and always promoting New Life Tabernacle. Man, if you're in our area, come see us. We'll love you. We'll, come worship with us. And it's different because I'm driving a Jeep down the road. I'm not just playing the same old video day in and day out. I'm trying to set myself apart. Whenever when we went and sold peanut brittle at the syrup festival, we can stand there and go, peanut brittle, $5, peanut brittle, $5, whatever, peanut brittle, come get your peanut brittle. But if we're not careful, people will walk by and not notice us. But if you're hollering at people and kind of playing with them back and forth, and what happens, it does two things. One, you sell peanut brittle, and two, those people that you interact with will remember New Life Tabernacle and their peanut brittle because of that brief interchange and interaction. Bro, everybody's different. So, I dress a lot of times. I like to wear cowboy hat, boots, and jeans. That's my normal attire. I don't go around Henderson in a suit and dress clothes. I just don't do that. I've got dress clothes. I got some on this morning. But yet, in town, if you were to talk to someone that has seen me in a cowboy hat with a duster on, that I've told them, I'm pastor of New Life Tabernacle, they're going to remember me versus the 10 or 12 other pastors in town that's going to show up in something they got at Dillard's. Not to say that Dillard's clothes isn't nice, it is. However, I want to set myself apart. I want the church to be viewed apart from other churches. That's the reason I like doing different stuff. I like having fireworks on New Year's Eve. I mean, it's a way to gain attention. You gain attention by creating the unforgettable. There's a lot of ways to do that. There's a lot of ways to create the unforgettable, because you cannot be forgettable. If you're forgettable, you're going backwards. But when people, I tell people all the time, so you pastor out in, yeah. Well, man, we'll have to come. I say, come on out. I say this a lot. I say, I probably don't preach very well, but I can tell funny stories. So when they get here and I tell a funny story, now that's starting to connect, and I'm not just the next guy, spouting Acts 2:38 and John 3:16, all that stuff. We need, as a church, to seem larger than life. We need to be viewed in the community as, wow, that's that New Life Tabernacle bunch. On your job, you have to appear larger than life. You have to appear bigger than you are. Not gaudy, not trying too hard, but just to know that you're something. That attitude carries over into our day-to-day lives. When you have a Holy Ghost, you're living for God, something happens in your life, and you tell somebody about it, that is something that, all of a sudden you're expressing, God's doing great things. God's doing magnificent things. You think that's not important. It's very important, because if there's not those things happening here, we are like every other church on the block. And so to gather things in our lives and figure out a way to make ourselves seem larger than life. A statement that was made was a name without fame, or understanding fame is with notoriety. Let's say a name without fame is like a flame without a fire. It doesn't exist. We talked about reputation last week. It's sort of the same thing. When people think about you, what do they think? If they think about me, do they think about me as a squirrel hunter? Or do they think about me as the pastor who squirrel hunts? Big difference in the two. Do they think about me as the pastor who's the hunter and the fisherman? Do they think about the pastor that rides the motorcycle? See, there's other things that go along with just the title of pastor that I need to appear larger than life. When people say, man, that guy, I seen that dude out there on the motorcycle. Man, I seen that dude out, man, he's running squirrels in my backyard. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I need the notoriety of being different. Because if I'm not, there's no real curiosity about what happened at New Life Tabernacle. To make somebody curious is to do something that's unexpected. Preachers don't normally ride motorcycles and tell a lot of people. Why? Because for many years, preachers preached against riding motorcycles. I tell everybody in the world, man, I love riding a motorcycle. I love to have me 2 or 3 of them. One of these days I might have me another. I like riding motorcycles. Man, I go on long trips. Why? Want to be different. You know, there's some people I know, there's preachers I know. I never knew they had a motorcycle till you hold that conversation with them. And they kind of looking over their shoulder. Yeah, I got a motorcycle. I ride sometimes. Man, put yourself out there. Go pull up in the middle of the parking lot at Jalapeno Tree or Tia Juanita's and rev that thing a few times before you get off. Draw the attention. You say, I don't like attention. You don't have to worry about it. Just rev it and go walk in. You ain't got to talk to anybody. You just need to be seen. And that's part of the deal. Once people are looking at you, once people see you, and they're focused on you, you begin to have a sort of a legitimacy in what you're fixing to say or do. If people don't view you as different, people are probably not going to listen to you very well. They will assume you're just like everybody else. But when you all of a sudden draw their attention and they become curious, they will listen to what you have to say. And if you're smart enough to hook them on the first few minutes of that conversation, you actually have a legitimacy because you're different. I've had people tell me, man, I really like you. Man, you're different. You're not like all them other preachers. I love that. I love the fact that, you can conduct yourself in a certain way and it becomes your brand. And for many, many years, preachers walked around with that little preacher strut, Well, I'm the pastor of New Life Tabernacle. I'm something special. Man, I run 100 people. Boy, you just walk around town with your nose up in the air. I don't like it. I don't think that's everybody else. Everybody else can do that. You do all you want to. I want to be able to walk into somebody's house, sit down, throw my feet up on their coffee table, pet Chico on the head, and go, you know what? Let's talk some real talk here. In my blue jeans, in a cowboy shirt with a cowboy hat on. Don't need a tie. Don't need a pair of dress. I don't need a dress shirt. I don't need fancy socks, although I got fancy socks on today.
Patriotic.
Woo, look at them socks there, Facebook. I'm different. I wear crazy socks. Why? To draw attention. If I didn't want to draw attention, I'd have a pair of gray socks on. Well, that's kind of dull. Or no socks at all. Yes, I have been known to wear no socks. You know why I wear no socks? Same reason I wear colored socks is because it draws attention. And why do I do that? It allows for conversation to start. And isn't that what we're trying to do with people? Isn't it to enter into a relationship with people? And so that legitimacy can be earned by just being different. You have to learn, however, because I believe at a pretty basic level, most people they've been taught in their life not to attract attention. You try to, and some of it's, the old, if you're trying to get away with something, never attract attention, right? Trying to get away with something as a kid, you don't want no attention. But most people have to learn how to attract attention. And the thing is, you have to learn how to attract the right attention and to attract it in the right way. It's just one of those things that It takes an understanding of who you are and what you have in your toolbox that you can use to do that. I use riding a motorcycle. I use wearing a motorcycle vest with a back patch on it. I use wild and crazy socks, social media, going to squirrel hunts, just going and sitting down at the Rusty Star and sitting over in a corner and just having a conversation with those around me. I need them to view me as somebody different from every other preacher in town. And when it comes to our witness, we need the world to view all of us. We each need the world to view us as somebody different than the rest of the world. There's a lot of people out there that say, I believe God, I love God, I love Jesus. Well, yeah, but they don't act like it. And when you watch them and you look at them, you don't see them as any different than anybody else that you come across on a day-to-day basis, like everybody else. But we as Christians, we should, when somebody sees us in Walmart, they ought to know. Even without, we talk a lot about, separation. And I'm not a big standards preacher. I don't beat people over the head and say, man, you got to do this, you got to do this other thing. But the reason we preach separation is to stand out. The reason Our Ladies with their long hair gathers attention is because everybody else has got it short. If everybody else in the world wore it long, potentially at some point in time over the years, somebody might would have tried to stand out. The same way with dresses, the same way with men wearing long sleeves or shaving, all these types of things. If you remember, the beard issue started back in the 60s, and preachers started preaching against the beard because it was a sign of rebellion. You had people coming home from the war, and they were going to join in motorcycle gangs, and it was what they felt that gave them that sense of brotherhood. I get all that, and I get the fact that back then churches probably needed to preach against, it's kind of like, it's kind of like makes sense. However, today ain't nobody rebellious with a beard. Our district, our general superintendents come out. And churches that still think that, I'm not going to preach against a beard. You can grow a beard if you want to. I don't care. I've had a beard myself at some point in time. The reason that I don't care is because I've never seen anybody in the last 20 years grew a beard out of rebellion against society or anything else. They grew beards because they like the looks of beards. Brother Bernard said, it's a moot point. It doesn't make any sense anymore. So what might have made sense 40 years ago, today, completely, the whole idea is completely different. So if we can't look different than the world, however, if we don't separate ourselves, so when you start talking about beards, you start talking about those fringe things that you can't take that book and put a verse to, you can always put, will it make you separate? Will it make you look different? Will it make you act different? Will it make you appear different from the world? Because the real key here is we're trying to draw attention to ourselves. You say, well, I don't want anybody to look at me. I don't want any attention. Are you not proud of the Holy Ghost? You're not proud of the fact that God saved you, gave you the Holy Ghost? To me, that's something to be proud of. That's something I'm willing to talk to somebody about. And if I can act or dress or think in a particular way that allows the attention to, I need to be different. Now, do I need to go out there, are you going to go out there and dress in some weird looking clothes that, all the colors clash and, you're wearing stripes and polka dots and solid colors all at the same time. You're wearing white, you're wearing white after Labor Day. The things the faux pas that, I don't care if you do that or not. I don't think it makes a dime's worth of difference really, but I don't know if that's really what we're talking about. What I think is that the attention that we're garnering has to be driving us to win the lost. That's the attention we need. We can get attention for a lot of stuff. I mean, if you walked into, the Denny's and raised a ruckus, you'd get attention, right? I mean, if you and your spouse is out in your front yard throwing dukes and your neighbors walk out, you getting attention. You know, that's not really the right attention, but you're getting attention. Probably not going to help us in our quest to win the lost, but will get us talked about in the community. So I'm not for certain that it's all attention is what we're looking for. We're looking for the right attention in the right places at the right time. And I believe that each of us has to do that in a different way. Not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody's going to wear crazy socks. You know, if Brother Reeves all of a sudden, Brother David all of a sudden showed up, you know, with some weird looking socks, you know, I don't know. It would be fun to see how they, you know, if Brother Reeves all of a sudden come up and he got him a bow tie, you know, he got him a bow tie. I don't know if I like it. I don't think Brother Reeves is going to do that. Brother David's not going to show up here in a 3-piece suit, you know, Stacey Adams, you know, alligator shoes and, you know, a toupee. That's not going to happen. But yet, Brother Allen can stand out in other ways. And Brother David will stand out and figure out how do I attract attention in my way. And that's really what it's all about. Sunday school teachers have to attract the attention of children. So you do that in a different way than an adult teacher is going to attract the attention of adults. I try to attract attention with humor. I like to use humor as that thing that brings people's focus back down into the room, gives them a little chance to breathe. Those are things that I use in the pulpit. I do other things in selling. And selling is completely different. So everything's different. Everything in our lives we have to inspect. And so when it comes to leadership positions, we have to be the ones that figure out what works for us. And I'm not one to tell people what to do. I don't tell people how to dress. I don't tell people, you need to tell more jokes, or you need to stop being so serious, or you need to, don't walk this way. You need to walk. To me, that don't make any sense to do. It doesn't help anybody. But I do believe that each of us, in our desire to live for God, has to take a look at ourselves and try to be the most influential we can be. And when it comes to leaders, those are the people who, if you think what's happening right now in Ukraine, like him or dislike the president of Ukraine, when he says, I need ammo, I don't need a ride, I like that. That's setting him apart. That is when he gets online and he does his little videos, that's drawing attention to him. And what he knows, I guarantee and if he doesn't know it, he's pretty good at it naturally. The more attention he draws to himself, the more negative attention he draws to Putin. And the more negative attention Putin gets, the worse off he is. Putin hasn't figured out how to get positive attention yet. So we look at our own lives, and if we're trying to win somebody and we're not being successful, maybe we just need to change our approach. Not the message, the approach. And sometimes they haven't seen us as being relevant to them yet. And sometimes it takes something that stands out. And so I don't know, it's one of those things where everything we do for the church needs to be to gain attention in the community. Everything we need to do. It's a reason when I came here, I wanted every time you come to church, check in, share anything you can share, take pictures during church, take video during church, put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, put it on however the social media that you like. Why? The more of that people see out in the community, the better. Why? It's gaining attention. I want attention. I like attention. When I walk it, finally after a year and a half, I can now go through, and there's places I now walk through, and somebody says, "Hey, you that guy, you that preacher out in Carlisle or Price, whichever, depends on how old they are." Yeah, sure am. As you start to gain that reputation, it's because you have been noticed. I'm hoping that it's positive. I can tell by their response if it is or not. And if it is, I need to do more, whatever it is that got their attention, whatever that is. Whether it be being friendly with them at the local, Herschel's, and communicating with the people there on Wednesday night after church, or Miss Rosa at the Mexican food place, the lady that we met that lives down here on the four-way. If you don't show yourself different and hold that conversation, we miss out on the opportunity God's really put in front of us.
That's right.
And so I'm not saying, please, don't put like peacock feathers in your hair and walk down through Walmart with them. I mean, that probably would just get you laughed at. But maybe not. Maybe a good peacock feather, and maybe that would draw some attention. I don't know. I doubt it. Might draw a ride to the loony bin till they give you some tests. You never know. But I do believe that within each of us there are ways that we can better ourselves at standing apart and being separate and attracting attention in the right way. And that's just another way that you gain an influence in people's lives, and you can use that to influence people's lives. And that's really what all these last 3 or 4 lessons have really been about. It's trying to better our ability to win friends and influence people, as the old saying goes. Any questions, any comments? I'm done. It's about 1:45. Be glad to chat about whatever y'all want to chat about. If not, I'm done. Back to drinking coffee. All you on Facebook land.